You're now listening to the Garage Guys Fantasy Sports Podcast.
Welcome to episode 168 of the Garage Guys Fantasy Sports Podcast, brought to you by Drip Drop. Drip Drop RS was invented to treat dehydration in the most challenging circumstances. It's used by doctors. It's used by military members. It's used by NASCAR fans. It's used by literally everybody that's dehydrated, or it should be at least. And right now, if you get over to dripdrop.com, use promo code GarageGuys20, you'll get 20% off your order. I don't have any Drip Drop by me right now, and I did that because Jinsey doesn't have any Drip Drop either. So I had to be respectful.
Would be fair.
Yeah. Right, but some's on the way for Jinsey, so all is well. But yeah, big shout out to Drip Drop. Jinsey, you're back on the show so soon. Yep. How's life been? How's life been since your first podcast appearance?
Man, it's been pretty good. I've been getting a lot of fame from Facebook. My mom's friends, they've been watching the podcast, loving it. So super excited about that.
Yeah, and you were you also were on another podcast this past week as well, with Darian Gillum and Eric Step and all those guys.
The NASCAR Weekly Podcast.
The NASCAR, just very simple name, good strategy, making things happen. So yeah, that's awesome stuff. So we're glad to have you back. Obviously, Drew.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. And Drew's away on vacation right now. Randy's on vacation. A lot of vacation.
Man. What are we doing on vacation?
I know. We don't take vacations. We're working hard.
We're working.
Stay working. We stay working in the shadows. That's how we do. Even when I go on vacation, I'm still working. I don't even know what vacation is anymore because
vacation's not in your vocabulary.
No, you use this thing right here. Like literally, like no matter where you go, hey, we got this. Hey, there's this. It's like, oh, okay. And then they're like, the next thing you know, you're getting like beach balls thrown at your head. Like, what are you doing? Like, it's just this is a week where you're supposed to just be spending time with your family, and you're just like, I'm here. Yeah,
you're here, but you're not.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a bad mix. So I need to get better with that. But that's what happens when you be passionate about things.
Yeah.
So sorry guys. But I want to dive right in. I'm pumped. I'm excited. We didn't have Wednesday racing, so nope. Our minds got off, and there's so much stuff going on in the world right now. So this week I really took that to reflect on those things. We're getting ready to get back into the weekend. We got our race at Atlanta, and this is going to be fun because we're starting to see more people talk about fans coming to racetracks, things happening of that nature. We got some big news this week while we didn't have any racing going on that racing's coming to your neck of the woods.
Yeah, at Nashville Speedway.
So this is some really big news.
For sure.
Before we talk about some of the drivers that we like and that we don't like for Atlanta this weekend, what does this mean really for I know Drew lives in Nashville, you live in Nashville, and I know the vibe of Nashville.
Yeah.
I love the city, I love everything about it. I think this is huge for NASCAR. How's everybody taking the news right now?
Man, I'm super excited. I don't really know about everybody else, but I've been seeing a lot of good feedback, especially on Twitter from a lot of people. So I'm super excited. I think the atmosphere will be great. And, like you said, it's right in my backyard. So I'm going to love being able to sleep in my own bed and go to a NASCAR race. That'll be awesome.
Will you be wearing headphones at all times while you're trying to sleep at night if they keep going, or if I don't know if you've ever been to Dega or whatnot, but normally when you got one racetrack, there's a dirt track that's not too far.
Yeah, it's right across the road.
Yeah, they're going to be running until
Yeah, you hear it all night. There's no sleeping at Talladega, so you might as well stay up to party or something because you're not getting any sleep there.
Yes.
But yeah, I don't know. Might wear my headphones. Might just shut my door, turn on my fan.
Or you could just hang out on the back porch and just bask in the sound of just carbon monoxide filling the air.
Yeah, that's probably what I'll do. I might take it in while it's here for sure.
Oh, good shit. Either way it goes. Yeah, just always excited to see more tracks being added. And that also adds to reasons for new people to get involved in the sport. And that's kind of what I think we're starting to see now, especially in 2020. So I want to see that growth continue, and we need that. The sport needs that. So always
and
epic.
This is something new, something exciting. And, you've always got to really appreciate it whenever they add a new track to the schedule because, it's not something that we're really used to, them adding tracks. So I'm excited to see how it pans out, really. I think it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's time. It's time for new stuff. Who knows? Maybe even I myself can go buy a plot of land in somewhere in South Mississippi or in Louisiana and say, all right, we're going to put this racetrack in a swamp. And we're gonna have alligators, and we're gonna call Joe Exotic and the spirit of Steve Irwin to come and just go crazy swamp rat style. So there's
a good idea.
We should have a racetrack in Louisiana. I'm gonna make that call next, and we'll actually put a bayou in the middle in the infield, and a bunch of canoes and pirogues.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
You got to, and then you can also watch racing and then go on the Swamp People tour inside of the track and let all the guys that say shoot 'em show you how to get alligators. So
it's like a double attraction there. That'd be pretty cool.
Damn,
there you go.
That's all we need.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, Gator Farm, NASCAR track, and watch beavers and nutria build dams.
And a gift shop. You could sell those little alligators there.
Exactly. Everyone loves the little swamp puppets. You know what I mean?
Kids can't go through a gift shop without asking their parents for those.
Exactly. Where is all of the Louisiana lawmakers? We need this track right now. We need to make this happen. All right, we're writing that down. Me and you together, Jinsey. We've just made history for the state of Louisiana.
A joint venture.
There it is. Chase and Jinsey doing work. Okay. So aside from all that shit, look at me. I'm already getting off topic. But here we go. All right, Atlanta this week. So the majority of you guys that are watching this, we're definitely, me and Jinsey are going to be going down and breaking down some drivers that we like and we don't like, and we're going to do this by team. So this is going to be a little bit different this week because the majority of when you're ready to get into the nitty gritty, you want to know who the hardcore picks are going to be, who we're really looking at. Definitely go check out our video over on Rotoballer, and that's where we're going to have our NASCAR DFS preview. And then of course you can find my articles on Rotoballer over the weekend. That's where I make the final selections. These are the guys. Put your bets in on them. Use the ones that are on the lower end of the total pool, the value plays in your lineups. Please, I had somebody last week hit me up, and they said, we saw that you had Corey LaJoie in one of your articles, so I put money on him to win, and I lost. And I'm like, well, that's because you're a dumbass, for one, because you don't bet Corey LaJoie to win the race on the equipment that he has unless some crazy stuff happened and the entire field went away and Corey was out there all along. So that's the only way that happens. So just you have to be able to differentiate the value plays and then the guys that you want to select to win the race. So please don't be dumb. And if you have
don't be coming at Chase.
Yeah, for real. Seriously, just DM me and be like, are you sure? I'm going to be like, this is how you should read this every week. I will help you and I will guide you. So let's do that.
That's very nice.
It's very nice of me, huh? Should I get an award?
You're a good person.
The good person award. I'll be waiting for the cookies. They should bake me.
Here's your sticker.
Aha! Got it. Okay. I'm a CGI a sticker in there. I'm not really, but I'm too lazy, but we'll pretend.
You can Photoshop one on my finger.
There we go. I'll just make a sticker of you with a thumbs up, and then I just start putting it in random places. Just that's what we should do. We should get stickers of you like that and just slap them onto the cars in the garage when everyone's not looking. So there's a bunch of Jinsey.
They would totally notice. I'm not low-key. I couldn't get away with that.
Well, we'll get a big one made, and we'll lay it on Chase Elliott's hood so it covers Napa, and then he'll really be pissed. But then he really can't be mad because it's this is just Jinsey's face smiling. Yeah. It's not Cherie. It's Jinsey. So there's that. That's a whole other rabbit hole we can go down. All right, enough shit. Let's go. All right, Folds of Honor, Quick Trip 500. Pretty sure that's what this race is called. I'm gonna kick myself in the foot if it's not. Let's double check right now.
Is it the 400 or is it 500? No, it's 500. You were right.
Yeah, Folds of Honor, Quick Trip. They never changed this one. It stays the same. So good job. So we got that
coming up on Sunday.
All right, so we're good. Yeah, Folds of Honor Quick Trip 500. I feel like an idiot for not knowing that right off the bat. But you know what? Got to make sure that your facts are straight. You never know. They've had a lot of name changes.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so we got the order, the lineup for Sunday's race. It was another random drawing. I really wish they'd go back to inversion, but it is what it is. Random drawing for this week. And looks like your boys got the pole. So
Chase Elliott on the pole.
This is Chase Elliott in his hometown, his home track, and his record sucks at Atlanta.
Yeah, looks like he has an average finish of 10.5.
Yeah, so it's not too bad. I mean, he hits top 10. That's good.
Yeah, that's pretty decent.
I'm going to say this much about Chase this week. I like Chase. I am worried, though, because anytime someone's in the starting position, like I normally try to avoid them. It just depends. Like if you were at a short track and you're in the starting position, like if this would have been very different, but this being an intermediate
this is a mile
track,
and a half track. Yeah, mile and a half track. So keep that in mind for picks.
A lot can happen here. I will say this. I'm definitely going to have some Chase Elliott in my lineups just because we've seen recently that we know he has the speed. His momentum is good right now. He's been getting in the way of a lot of people, so he's pissing some people off. So there's that.
Watch out for that.
Yeah, that is true.
Possible retaliation.
Looks like a Mr. Joseph Logano is in third. It's third place. So can he catch him? That's the question.
Yeah, probably.
I think Chase is going to be fast. I mean, he has a really good opportunity to get the clean air, get out in front, and lead these laps. Probably could even win stage one. And, looking at Hendrick as well, like inside of this top 10, I'm already seeing that Alex Bowman's right there in position 8. Now, Alex has been doing really good at intermediate tracks. We saw him win at Chicagoland. We saw him win at Auto Club. And that's kind of what I'm reminded of here is like if he can do that here, I can easily see Alex getting the speed, being able to get up there close to Elliott very quickly. So we might see him even up in that top 3 to top 5 range very quick. So I do like Alex a lot this week as well. So Hendrick's looking good on those ends. I think now with William Byron, he's like I said, he's just one of those guys that I'm not 100% sold on. The salary is decent, but he's starting in 21st this week. And for me personally, I'm probably going to stay away from him. And Jimmy Johnson as well in 15th. He is just really overpriced. I want to say Jimmy's somewhere in the 10,000 range on DraftKings. And I think obviously he'll gain some spots, but I just don't think he's going to be able to carry out to the end. And especially for the
price.
He's
had trouble closing recently too.
Yeah, so big
that's
time.
Something to be aware of.
And his prices too is just what I'm looking at. Like I feel like I think that there's some other guys that are in his price range that are just way more worth it. Like I'm already looking right now, just seeing like Kevin Harvick being the most expensive play on the board. There's good reason for that. Yeah. So I mean, unless you have anything else to add about any of these Hendrick guys.
Well, Jimmy Johnson did actually win the race at Atlanta in 2015 and 2016, but that was still a while ago. And I'm kind of with you on that one. I don't think he has the momentum to close this one out.
Yeah. Ever since the new packages came out, like the new Camaro, he hasn't really found that ground with it yet. And plus,
he hasn't found his balance yet.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is it too. Like, we all hope to see him win a race before he leaves. Yeah. But it's not going to be handed to you. So that's the issue there. It just seems like him losing, the crew chief that he had for the longest amount of time, changing the cars, things have just kind of been wishy-washy. He was decent at Texas. Now, when we get to Texas, that's a different story with Jimmy. Jimmy can find a way to make it move. The muscle memory he has there is just really good. But other than that, I think Elliott and Bowman are the two guys I like the most for Team Hendrick this week. But going back to Kevin Harvick, starting with Stewart Haas Racing, this dude, it's a clear deal. Kevin Harvick is your guy. Kevin Harvick is Atlanta. When I think Atlanta, I think Kevin Harvick, and that just goes into just the domination that he has just been able to portray here over the years. When I'm looking at his record, I want to say the last time he finished outside of the top 10 was 2014. We started first and finished 19th. So, I mean, second place in 2015, sixth in 16, ninth in 17,
Ninth and 17. Yeah.
won it in 2018, and then fourth in 2019.
Yeah.
I really like what Kevin's got going on, and he recently won a race. I think that we're going to continue seeing him, so I don't mind spending up for him this week at 11-7 on DraftKings.
Yeah. And Kevin Harvick's always very consistent too. So you can always count on him to get the job done for sure.
Big time. Another guy that I like that I feel like is a little bit undervalued, but it's probably because of where he's starting, is Clint Boyer.
Yeah.
Because just like with Clint, like we saw that he's kind of like in that Jimmy Johnson situation. Like he can run good, but he has trouble closing towards the end. But I think SHR in general just has a good grip of things that are happening here, because he's got 2 top 5 finishes since 2018, finished 11th in 2017. And then after that, when you get away from him at Stewart-Haas, like it was just bad. Like Michael Waltrip Racing, bad. Scott
but it's Stewart-Haas equipment. He's pretty good.
Yeah.
He's been running pretty decent these past few years.
So Clint and Harvick are 2 guys we like, and like I said, I mean, Clint Boyer at 8,700 is just, I think that's a good deal, even with him starting 5th. The one guy that I'm really staying away from is Aric Almirola, and that's just because, for one, we forget that he exists sometimes, and for 2,
I always forget that him and Kevin are like on the same team. I'm just like, ooh.
Yeah, it's like, who is you? I don't know. Like, for the price. I mean, his price isn't bad, but I mean, he's priced to fail pretty much. I mean, 6,800. DraftKings knows that, like, with him being in second, he's definitely going to fall. I mean, he got the pole here in 2019, finishing 8th. So, I mean, he had the top 10, but still, if I can get a guy in that range, the $6,800 range, that I think is going to do better. Like, I'd rather have Erik Jones at 6,600 than I'd rather have Almirola. Or like looking at like Austin Dillon starting in 16th. I want a guy that's going to move forward, not move backward. And I think, unfortunately, that Almirola is probably going to end up on that side of the stick. And then Cole Custer starting in 31st. That's not bad. Do you know much about Cole at all?
I don't really know much about him. Really.
He likes custard. I know that much.
Yeah, that's his last name.
Big custard guy. Well, no, it's not actually. It's Custer. But he does Custer. Cole's custard, which is like some type of like frozen treat. I don't really know much about it.
You don't know much about custard? Custard's good.
I'm not a custard connoisseur. No,
what about ice cream?
Ice cream's okay, I guess. Like, I mean, I like cookies and cream ice cream.
I had ice cream tonight, man. I got the s'mores blizzard from Dairy Queen.
I've just never been that big of a sweets guy. I need to get more into this world.
I'm a big sweets girl, so I can tell you a lot all the sweets, but don't know much about Cole Custer. So he's one sweet that I don't know about.
All right, so I don't even know if he is sweet. Like we'll have to find out. But he
stopped more attention
doing
to
it.
Him.
Yeah, I'm kind of ticked off because he stopped doing these videos so much. I understand it's hard because of the way that things are right now as far as coronavirus. But at the same time, it's like, bro, get somebody to bring you some custard to do it at your house. Like, but you're starting in 31st, okay? 6,600. I can't complain. I mean, he probably could be a pretty good, decent value play here. Definitely got to go look a little bit more in it. But Almirola is just one that I'm not touching this week. I think me and you were both pretty in agreement of that. 100%.
He only has one top 10 since he's been racing there. Oof. So
it's not Talladega, dog.
Actually, since February 2018, only one top 10. So, staying away from him.
Goodbye. So long, farewell to you, my friend. Team Penske. Brad is like a definite.
I'm like all about that. Yeah, Brad, he has a lot of momentum, especially since he won at Bristol this past Sunday. He won the Coca-Cola 600. I think he's a good pick. He has a lot of momentum.
This is all we can hope for. We have to make sure this is how Brad does it again, okay? He's got to be in like 4th or 5th place, and then he's going to find a way to like wizard the people in front of him to wreck, and he's going to win. He's
always in the right place at the right time. Am I right?
He's been a big luck boy. I'll say that much. And he's starting in 6th at 8,900. That might be like the best value on this board. Is Brad Keselowski at $8,900 on DraftKings, which is insane to me.
And he
So
did actually win at Atlanta in 2017 and 2019.
yeah,
So he's got that going for him too.
what is
What a
DraftKings
pick!
doing? Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
what a pick!
wow, like that. Okay, so that's a Garage Guy Chase guarantee. Brad K will be in my article this week. That is
Yeah,
that is a
he's a good one.
guarantee. $8,900, insane. DraftKings dropped the ball. Good thing they can't change their prices now. Okay, Logano starting in third. Now, I have Logano is like one of the guys I think can win this race. Like he's one of my picks, obviously. For fantasy, maybe not so much. But
Yeah.
for somebody that can come back, bounce back, and take it over like in a blink of an eye,
Yeah.
with him having the equipment and the chief that he has, I do like it. However, him starting in third is kind of like the issue that I have. Like he's been getting these starts where he's way up there, so it's making people look elsewhere of how they're going to spend their money and their salary. So while I do think that Logano could win this race and could be a good pick, it just to me Chase Elliott at 9,900, I think that he's going to be the guy that can truly dominate the beginning stages, get all those points, and that's what you want when you're building these lineups. So Logano definitely maybe having a couple of lineups because you never know. He may get up there and just be like, fuck you, dog. Like, get out the way. You messed up my win, and now I'm going to take this over. So there's all kinds
but
of
keep
people.
in mind he's never won at this racetrack before.
He hasn't.
So.
Neither has Chase, though. But
Yeah.
I honestly – I don't know if I'm about to take the words out of your mouth, but I'm just going to say this. I like Chase's odds to win now more than I did
But way before. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
100%. The other driver for Penske, Ryan Blaney, had some tough luck, but he doesn't seem to do that well at Atlanta.
Yeah, average finish of 19.25 at this racetrack in 4 starts.
Yeah, I'm probably going to sit away from him.
He has 2 top 20s, so yeah, he's not looking too good for this race.
Don't want no part of that mess. And then also too, like I think that he's like really like I think he's kind of overpriced. Like I'm looking right now, he's at 8,500. I don't know, like starting in 7th, I feel like there's a lot better plays. Like I'm looking at, some of these like Redick. We'll talk about RCR in a little bit too, but I like Redick a lot better than that, like his starting position close to the money of where they're at. There's just some other guys there that make a little bit more sense to me. But we got to talk about Wood Brothers Racing is kind of connected to Penske. Matt Dibenedetto, he's 7,200 on DraftKings starting in 21st. Doesn't have the best record here, but with the new equipment, things might be a little bit different. So we do tend to see the Penske drivers, their equipment runs really well at Atlanta. And Matty D is just one of those guys you want to get behind just because like he's charismatic.
You like him a lot for some reason.
Yeah.
I mean, I like him too. He has a good personality, I think.
Exactly. And he can race too. He can get out there and show what's up. So this will be one of those races where, we're going to see the differences. I tried to, I played Dibenedetto at Bristol with the new equipment.
I did too.
It was probably, it was a little bit more showing that like, okay, maybe it is a little bit more skill but the track was just so different and the racing is just so different this year. It's so hard to compare it to any other year. So maybe we'll see a little bit of a difference with him. He's kind of iffy and I'll have more notes on him going into the weekend. But from Penske going to Gibbs, this is where shit gets interesting. So these are your high price guys. Like week to week, and for some reason, Toyota hasn't been doing that hot so far this year. Other than Hamlin, like being like
winning the Daytona 500, yeah,
some of those kind of races. I just see a lot of things that overpriced. Look, Kyle Busch is Kyle Busch. We know this. He's 11,200, but this isn't his all-time greatest track either. We know that he's done decent here in the past. He's been able to make some things happen. He's won here before, but it's been a minute since he's won. So, I mean, that's like 2013 was the last time. Yeah, like he's going to get the top 10s, but with him starting in 4th, I mean, he's been finishing anywhere between, 7th and 6th place was the last 2 races here. In 2017, he finished in 16th. And these are all different factors of different races. I get it, but it's just with him starting. If he was starting somewhere, around like between 10 and 15, that'd be a different story for me. I could justify paying up for him more, but I don't think I can do it with him this week. Who's your favorite guy out of all of these guys at Joe Gibbs that you think will probably be able to make some things happen early on?
I think Martin Truex Jr. is a pretty good pick. As we all know, this is a 1.5 mile track, and we've seen him, whenever he was driving for Furniture Row, that one season he was really dominating over 1.5 mile tracks. So looks like last year he finished second at Atlanta in 2019, and he, his average finish isn't too good at 16.9, but I think he's carrying momentum. Last year in Joe Gibbs equipment he ran second. So my pick for Joe Gibbs is Martin Truex Jr.
And he's the cheapest on the board right now at $9,600 on DraftKings. Let me tell you why I love Martin Truex here. Okay, yeah, Cole Pearn left. Things have looked a little bit different this year. Truex is one of those guys. He's going to find a way to get it together. You know what I mean? So at $9,600, starting at 11th, being obviously, other than Erik Jones being the third cheapest option, he has not finished outside of the top 10 since 2011 at Atlanta.
Yeah, that's a pretty good stat.
Sold.
There you go.
Sold. Truex. Brad and Truex are two locks for my article going forward. So Truex Jr. and Brad, loving these guys so far. So these are two guys we're doing this is how I do it every week, by the way, guys. I call Jinsey and we discuss. So Jinsey's actually the pick master here. I don't know about
all that.
It's a compliment.
Okay, yeah, it's me. I'm the pick master.
It's me. I'm the one. No, but
I am the one.
We'll find out after this week because I'm gonna call you mad and be like, "This is all your fault, Jinsey. All these picks are all your fault."
No.
I'm not gonna do that to you.
That ain't on me.
Erik Jones, though, I think we can both agree that his record hasn't been the best at this track, but with his starting position being in 14th, at $6,600. He's hard to pass up.
Yeah,
he's tough. He's tough to pass up. But 14th.
Yeah, he has an average finish of 10.67. So
he finished in 7th here in 2019. So he's somebody I'm gonna keep my eye on, especially because, like I said, you've got to be making multiple lineups. We all know this much by now. You have to tinker around if you want to get into the top, win some tournaments, win your cash games. You've got to put in multiple lineups. So Eric definitely will belong in some of those lineups.
What are you thinking about Denny Hamlin?
Denny, he's starting in 10th. I don't know
about him.
He's starting 10th place.
He has an average finish of 17th here. So
yeah, he's got that finish with him. I don't know.
He did finish 4th in 2018. In 2019, he finished 11th. So I don't know.
I think I'd rather use my big money on somebody like Harvick.
Or
Harvick
Keselowski.
Or Keselowski being at 8,900, that definitely helps.
Oh,
but I think this week, if a lot of people look at just Harvick in general and then go to, you definitely want to have some of these guys in there. I think Hamlin can compete, but I feel like at the end of the day, your best option for Joe Gibbs this week is obviously Truex. So why would I spend that 10-8 when I can go spend that 96? You know what I mean? Because it's good to have guys from different teams and to switch them around, but I think Truex is the best on the board for Gibbs this week. Absolutely, without a doubt.
I think so too.
So I'll go with that there. So Denny's just kind of left in limbo, but I'm not.
Yeah, sorry, Denny.
I'll have some, but I'm not too heavy on it. Moving on to the smaller teams, Chip Ganassi Racing. We both can agree Kurt Busch is going to be looked at. Favored a little bit here. He's got a lot of track record at this track. He's been in racing forever now. Out of him and Matt Kenseth. I mean, we got two championship caliber guys right here. What do we? Obviously, me and you were going to choose Kurt over Kenseth, though.
Yeah, Kurt. I mean, Kurt he finished 3rd last year and then 8th in 2018. So, I mean, it looks like he's had top 10s since 2016 at this track. So, yeah.
Actually, it's been pretty spaced out. I mean, since 2010, he's been pretty dominant at Atlanta. I mean, he has 2 finishes where he was outside of, it looks like, the top 10. I mean, most of these finishes were top 5. So, I mean, I'm seeing him now. But yeah, finished 13th in 2014 and 2012. And this is him going from Penske to Phoenix to Furniture Row to Stewart Haas. He's just been all around the board.
And then Chip Ganassi, yeah.
So with him being able to do this with all of these different teams, it's a must for me that Kurt.
It comes down to a common denominator that he's doing something right at this racetrack.
It's the muscle memory,
despite the equipment.
Yeah,
he knows what's
absolutely. Up. So Kurt is a drive dog. We'll call him the drive dogs this week. So he's one of the guys I want. Kenseth, however, I feel like that he's got to get a little bit more in the groove of things. He came out pretty strong. Yeah. He came out looking like he was going to be killing the game, but it's I think he's understanding that it's kind of like Jimmy's understood, and it's a young man's game right now. There's just some different types of things and strategies. So I'm not going to say completely cross him off the list, but with him starting in 19th at 8,100, there's definitely other drivers I'd rather spend that money on. So that's where I'll go with that. Kurt, though, I'm watching Kurt very closely. I think Kurt's
he's starting 12th too, so that gives him a little bit of wiggle room. Yes.
So you know what? Look at us go. I'm gonna add him. He's one of them. We're figuring things out as we go. I love this.
There we go.
Okay. RCR. This is a tough one.
Yeah.
You said it yourself earlier. I want to believe it every year. Austin Dillon kind of has some momentum, but can he carry that into this weekend? It's just his
record doesn't look too good here either.
No, the record, but if I'm looking at also where he's starting around Jimmy Johnson, Ryan Newman, Erik Jones. I can see him. I feel like with him, he can find a way to get to speed, but the track's got to be open enough. And I feel like he's going to be around some guys that are going to make it very tough on him starting out, especially with Newman going to be trying to get around him, Johnson, Erik Jones, Chris Buescher's somebody I can see falling back in that 17 car. But if he can get past those guys and get up into the draft where you're getting into the Harvick and Hamlin and Truex territory, I can definitely see Dillon run inside that top 10.
He could do something there. Yeah.
Yeah. So I do like that. However, when it comes to where he's going to finish, that's where I get nervous because that's going to matter so much for fantasy. So I'm going to go ahead and look the other way this week at his teammate, Tyler Redick, being a rookie going into this track. He's been okay at Atlanta. I don't know the exact stats of him in Xfinity, and this is a whole new game. Yeah. But based off of what he's done, okay, he's $8,300, right? And this is somebody we can talk about to compare to Kenseth. Kenseth at 8,100. I would much rather spend $200 extra and get Redick starting in 24th because I at least know that Redick can work his way into the top 20. So Redick is definitely going to be somebody that I'm looking at over Dillon this week. I think that Redick is going to be the play to have because when we're looking at Austin Dillon, he is definitely cheaper than Redick because Dillon's 6,400. But for place differential purposes, I want Redick all day. How do you feel about Tyler Redick? I mean, are you thinking that this is going to be the guy that's going to be the face of RCR in the long run?
I don't know. With Austin, he's in there. It's his family's. So I don't know if I really see Redick hanging in there with RCR for very long because, Austin definitely has a spot there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, yeah, I'm not really sure about him, but I think,
I think if he keeps winning and he gets that championship trophy, things are going to change a little bit though. And he's gunning for it too. RCR hasn't had a guy like that in their stable in a while, so.
Yeah, and he ran pretty good at the start of the year too. So, who knows what he's got.
That's it. Well, look, for more on what I like, don't like, what Jinsey likes, you can follow Jinsey. You guys know where to do that on Twitter at Jinsey Stinson. So, it's as simple as that. So we know that much. And I'll definitely, like I said in my article, I'll have one of my value picks of the week, and I'll go into more detail on this stuff for the Rotoballer video. But that's a quick recap of our quick preview of what we think is going to be going down in Atlanta.
Yep.
Were you about to say explicitive?
No, I was going to say what we expect to happen, or who
these are the expectations.
These are our expectations.
Absolutely. You see me sneaking over here trying to hide the logos on my cups. Did a poor job of preparing. Once they give me money, I'll show them off all the time. I'll get banners and posters.
We can put it right behind you. You can be the face of it.
There we go. All right, so next up we have Hunter Masling. I got to sit down with him. He works with Team Penske on Joey Logano's pit crew. He's a tire guy. So I got to sit with him a little bit, talk with him about what happened between him and Chase Jinsey. You're going to love this. Got to talk with him about what happened. So here's the interview. Enjoy this, and we'll be back. All right, we now welcome on to the Garage Guys Fantasy Sports Podcast, episode 168. Hunter Masling from Team Penske. Good pal right here. Hunter, how are you hanging, man, after Bristol? How's things been going?
We're good, man. You know, we're trying to take the momentum we were building up to the very end of the race. We're looking for a strong finish, and we're going to kind of skip what happened at the end of the race and bring that to Atlanta.
Oh.
So we're hoping to build off of the good pit stops we had on pit road, and Paul made some really good adjustments to get the car, put everything in position. The win was there for us, and we kind of got taken away there at the end. But we're feeling good about going into Sunday. Yeah,
man. So I mean, let's start there. In Atlanta, you know, I've got Joey Logano actually as one of my favorites again. I'm bouncing back. Hopefully, we don't have any more altercations that happen, but we do have him graded. He's got a really good record at Atlanta, and he's looking really good to be able to take over the race and make some things happen. And I know that those things don't happen without an awesome pit crew and an awesome pit team, and you guys are that. I've been at races. I've seen how y'all work, man, and it's just it's incredible to be around, and I've learned more about what really goes on and how these drivers are able, not only using their skill, but it takes a team effort, you know, and a lot of people don't really see it that way. So having you on the show for the first time, you know, we've had a lot of communication, a lot of talks. You've been on with Randy and talked with him a little bit. So bringing you here tonight, going into Atlanta, and just kind of looking back in the past, like with Penske, like, where did everything kind of start for you as to realizing, like, this is what I want to do, and I know that I want to be the best? Because you can't just get a job at Penske without, you know, being really good at your craft. Like, that's one of the big teams in NASCAR. What was it that kind of got you started here, got you into this lifestyle, and what got you, you know, on at Penske? What made you want to take that career route?
Well, first, I want to say thank you for the comment about the pit crew. I'm sure the boys would love to hear that. I'll pass it on to them. But as far as getting to wanting to be the best and how I got into the business, I went through a pit crew training school out here in Mooresville, North Carolina, and I originally was next door at the UTI school, Universal Technical Institute, and on the NASCAR side of it, they had like an intro pit crew class, and I kind of stood above most of the classmates there, and my teacher, who used to be a tire changer in NASCAR in the mid-2000s, he kind of pulled me aside one day. He's like, "Hey, you ever thought about doing this for a living?" And I kind of looked at him like, "You can do this for a living?" You know, asking him like, "Really?" And I was like, "No, I never thought about that." And he's like, "Maybe you should consider it." He's like, "There's a school here next door, and there's a few other pit schools at the time, but I checked out Pitt right there next door and got training there, got in there, started getting into it, and I was like, this is pretty cool. You know, it's fun. Like, you know, it's some athletic. Like, I always enjoyed sports and being some type of athlete or whatever. And I was just an average high school athlete, you know, played football, did some things in track and field. But once I got into that, all of a sudden things started to click and mold, and I became really good really fast. And I was working hard every day, and I was like, okay, this is something I'm good at, and I want to be the best at it. And just train and train and train and work and work and work. And one day, Coach Trent Cherry from Penske Racing, and came by to watch, you know, one of our afternoon classes that we were having. We were training, doing drills and stuff. Got invited to a tryout at Penske Racing. Nailed the tryout. Me and another guy who's actually a carry on 21 car now, Dylan Dow, we actually got hired at Penske at the same time. We were both going through pit school. Got hired at Penske. We pitted Brad's trucks for a couple of years and just worked our way up through the ranks, always just training and working hard and making sure I was in position for when I was called up to our Xfinity car and to our Cup car that I was ready. And since 2014, the spring Dover race, I've been on one of our Cup teams.
Nice. So that kind of like goes into letting me understand that just like a driver has to work up his way through a team, like with trucks and Xfinity and the Cup Series, you know, you guys have to do the same as well. You guys work up through those rankings.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I think Penske did a pretty good job as far as, you know, giving us enough but not throwing us right into the fire right away. You know, Brad had a truck team at the time, so it allowed like the new developmental guys to get in there, get your feet wet. And Penske has made it a point that their Xfinity team is that car always runs good. Ever since Penske's had that 22 car, it's always been contention for winning every week, every year. So they kind of put you on that team like that's your test. That's your test to see if you're ready to run up front, to be on one of because the Cup drivers were all driving at the time. You know, Brad and Joey, they were always swapping that seat. And so you were going to run up front in Xfinity races. And once you kind of proved yourself there, it's like, okay, let's put this guy on this team. Let's put this guy on that team. So you're always being tested when you were on those lower series.
That's awesome. It's a bummer what happened for Austin Cindric at Bristol on
that's never a good thing, man. When you wreck early in a race like that.
That race
control. Yeah.
That was dude, yeah, that was a crazy race, man. I hate seeing Cindric get put out that early. Noah Gragson ended up winning that thing though, man. I gotta say, like, even though that dude hit his teammate, Noah, dude, his personality is just like out the box. I don't know if you've been around much.
People say the whole teammate thing. It's kind of a thing at our shop. You know, yes, we work for the same owner, but at the same time, you're representing your team. You know, your car. You're going to do all you can to win a race. And
right.
I'm not saying don't not race hard. Right. Well, they kind of wrecked each other a little bit on Monday night, but I know as far as Penske, it's like race as hard as you can against each other. Don't give anything to each other, but don't wreck each other at the same time. So it's a fine line of racing hard and racing, you know, a little too
That's
hard.
how you get better, though, and that's why they're in these developmental programs moving up to this Cup Series because you got to get all that out of you before you can move forward. So it's but yeah, just it sucked to see that, but it's also awesome to hear that like that's how the developmental stages happen, and that's where you get to where you are. And you coming over from, you know, when I first met you, you were with Brad Keselowski's team. You were with the number 2 team. And then this year you guys moved into to the 22 box with Joey. And, you know, with all the moves that went into Penske, I mean, obviously there's, you know, it's just kind of changing things around. You're starting to see, like, differences with Ryan and with Brad and, like, Rad Keselowski. Maybe that's a new nickname for him. Yeah. But Brad, you know, he's been he's came in position lately with the 600 and with Bristol. I mean, he just kind of like was right place, right time, took care of business. But going back into Bristol, it just what were some of like the emotions? Like, cause there had to be Joey had to be mad. And I know it's hard for Joey to really show that because he's just such a nice guy. Like, he's just very just like nice and he's very composed. What was it like hearing him on the radio when that went down?
I can't say everything that he said on the radio when it went down. But
would he be on Radioactive?
Joey, like you said, Joey's a very extremely competitive, like any race car driver. Like any pit crew guy, like any crew chief, anyone working in racing is extremely competitive. So, yeah, well, I mean, everyone was upset. You know, our car wasn't perfect at the beginning of the day. We had to make some pretty aggressive adjustments midway of the race. We had a speeding penalty. We had to get good pit stops to get them back up. It was a team effort to get back into a chance to win the race. And it was there. It was right there. Joey had a great restart late, took the lead, and you know what happened at the end. So,
yeah. Oh, yeah, I know.
Happy. I mean, as he shouldn't be. You know, he raced Chase fairly clean from what I remember. And, you know, it's what happened. You know, hard racing, sometimes you get wrecked. You know, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, it's especially at Bristol, man, because like this – the difference with it for me, like going into this week, because, you know, like I do a lot of my stuff where like I'm grading drivers and I'm trying to figure out who's going to be good and who's not going to be good for lineups and for betting purposes and things like that. And, you know, I had Joey picked and like right up there at the end, like everything was just going exactly how I'd planned. But, you know, a lot of people didn't take in the factors too. Like, I mean, it's got to be tough on you guys right now because, you know, you're going to these tracks with no practice, no qualifying, and you're hitting a green racetrack. So that changes a lot of things and a lot of outcomes from what normally would be. So it's almost kind of like it's a new product. And that's kind of the way that I've been talking about it. Am I spot on with that, or am I off on that take?
You know, and that's where hats need to go off to all of our engineers and crew chiefs and everyone that preps the cars before it touches the racetrack. those guys are really showing what they do on a week-to-week basis. Before you see a race car driver at the practice, see a crew chief, making adjustments in the garage at the racetrack. Now it's set your car up at the shop, load it on the truck, ready to race. So kudos to the guys that are at the race shop preparing these cars, getting them ready to race. And, it doesn't really change as much for us as a pit crew. We've always, basically shown up day of anyway, but it's got to be tough. I can only imagine. I know you have all these drivers and crew chiefs and engineers, they have, unlimited resources as far as notes because we've been to all these tracks numerous of times. So, yes, even though you've been there before, maybe Goodyear brings a different tire. You don't know what the weather is going to be that day. There's numerous things that go into setting up these race cars that are beyond my simple mind. That's why we have the smart guys like all our engineers that we have on our race teams. But, no, a lot goes into it behind the scenes, and I think people are starting to see that more now with no practice, no qualifying. It's literally those cars are at our race shop, get prepped, and they get pushing the truck, and as soon as they come off the truck, they're going through the tech line. So it puts a little more pressure, I think, on the people preparing them at the race shop. But as we can see, I know Penske, I can say that we've done a pretty good job of that so far.
Right, and I think it also shows like the true skill of the driver as well too when they're behind these cars, because not getting out there and getting a feel.
You don't show up and get a shakedown, and even though they've been at all these racetracks numerous times, I'm pretty sure it's just like us pit crew guys. Even though we've done a million pit stops, I still go and sit on my little practice up before the race on the pit box and hit 2 or 3 patterns. It's just It's what we do.
Build muscle memory.
Then do it. Yeah.
And that's why I think so important too. And like also showing some of these rookie drivers that are coming out, like their skill. Like I know Tyler Redick has been on fire, like being able to show like what he can do. Nemechek, John Hunter, like he's been another one that's like looking like really good. Like he's kind of getting familiar with this. And I know that a lot of these drivers are using iRacing as kind of like what their practice is right now and things like that. And we've all seen that Joey is not the best iRacer in the world, but do you know much of like as far as the simulation goes, like with him, like has he been using a lot of that off the record, or is he just kind of going off of his muscle memory being on the track?
I really don't know if he has. He hasn't really told us a whole lot about it. I know Ford has their simulator and stuff, and I don't know if drivers use it a lot right now. I think they made a rule in NASCAR said you can't use the simulators right now, and I don't think they counted iRacing as one. They just said like the manufacturer-owned simulators. But if he has, maybe. But I know we kind of joked a little bit in our group text about when we weren't racing, we're ready to go back racing because we were tired of seeing Joey running in the back.
Yeah.
we were running so good, before the break and everything. So we kind of picked at him and had good fun with it. But no, we joked around a lot about it.
Right. And see, that's the difference. I mean, you guys, y'all can be in the shop and, just like you said, you go hit your reps. I mean, just like going to a gym, I've been there where, you're hitting the gun on the lug nuts and you're doing that. And like, that's all a part of just that repetition and that building of that. And I know you guys are in the shop a lot doing that work too. So it doesn't go unnoticed whatsoever. But yeah, it just it's crappy what happened at Bristol, but with the chance to make this bounce back, you guys are going to be heading out for Atlanta. Y'all normally, a lot of people that follow NASCAR, they don't really understand like that how the crews get there and things like that. You guys aren't like there like for the weekend. Like you guys are like flying in for like the day of the race, right?
Yeah, we kind of have what's called the A and the B team, or the road crew and pit crew, however you guys say it. Basically, our road crew guys, which are main car mechanics, they'll usually fly in the day before or the morning of, where we have the first practice. Like if they're a normal racing schedule before all the quarantine stuff, like say it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday show, you have your road crew guys. They show up on Friday morning, get the car, get it all set up, get it through tech. Might have a practice session that day, work on it all weekend. Same thing goes for Saturday for qualifying and practice, set the car for Sunday. As Russ as pit crew, we practice Tuesday through Thursday, and then races on Sunday. We fly in Sunday morning. If it's a West Coast race, they'll fly us in Saturday night to kind of get accustomed to the time change out there.
Right.
Yeah, we're in that Sunday morning, waking up 4, 5, 6 a.m., flying to our designated racetrack, get there, set all the tires up, set pit box up, get everything ready to go for the race, pit the race car, tear everything down, and back on the airplane and back home.
Right, exactly. And that's something a lot of people have to keep in mind too, is just like the life of that. And like that can, I mean, you still get a good work-life balance, but still at the same time, it's just like gotta go. And especially with all this stuff that's happening now, how the races are, it's probably a lot more demanding than ever.
Throwing in the Wednesday schedule is definitely, it's made it harder, not necessarily harder, but it's just made it more different. It's made it to where when you race on a Sunday to Sunday deal, it's okay, you have your normal routine. You watch film, you review pit practice, you have pit practice, you have your few different days of practice. Same thing with the teams. You can come home, you tear down, you analyze everything on the car, you get everything ready for the next week. When we race on Sunday, you can turn around on Wednesday, okay, race is over. All right, well, let's get the car ready for Wednesday and right back to the racetrack. Same thing, we had to go back on Sunday. So it was just, you compress the 6-day schedule into 2 days, so you can imagine the amount of workforce that went to 2 days, usually spread over 6.
Look, so, I'm going to say this, what I do is nothing compared to what you do, but just from having to wake up and then Thursday we do Garage Guys, we record our Rotoballer YouTube video. I write an article for Rotoballer. We answer questions. I go into build line. Dude, it's been wild like that, because normally we're done on Sunday and I get to sit back and enjoy the race. And then we do our podcast Sunday night. No, Sunday night, it's okay, right back to it, because we have Wednesday. We got to go. So yeah, it's constant, man. So I had
weird. This time last week, I think today's Wednesday. Yeah, we've been past 2 Wednesdays we've been racing, so it's kind of weird being at home right now.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I've been relaxed, man. I've been just kicking back and taking advantage of it, because I knew today I was all right, we're back in action. Thursday is the start of the week,
Well, today's Thursday. I don't even know what day of the week it is.
Yeah, right. And the way that everything is right now is not helping at all, because everybody's at home. Nobody can figure out the day that it is. But luckily we got the NASCAR schedule back to kind of help us tame that a little bit.
We're already in June.
That's what's crazy. I woke up the other day and I was like, oh, wait, it's June. I was saying it was May. Dude, it's crazy how it's been going. But I'm hoping to God that eventually we'll be able to get some people back out at these tracks in a safe way, to where people can enjoy these races. And it's going to be tough, because you got to make sure that you find the proper way to bring the fans in and be safe at the same time. So hopefully NASCAR.
It's a workload just for the – I don't know, the number is 1,000 to 1,500 crew members, whatever's there to make the race go on, and that's bare minimum that we're trying to run. It's been, give NASCAR credit, they've done a really good job of making it a system to where it works, the different time slots where teams come in, check in, that way you're not all bunched up at a gate waiting, that way it just flows in and out easily, and they've done a good job on that. So I know fans are probably getting impatient. I would understand if I was a fan as well. But trust me when they say we have to wait until it's safe for everyone to come back. We have to wait, because right now it's still tough just to manage the little bit of bare minimum skeleton crews it's taking right now. So trust me, as soon as NASCAR can have fans back, they're going to have you back, because what a race it would have been to have fans out of Bristol this past weekend. The reaction of the crowd going nuts and cheering or booing or whatever, that was the only thing that was missing from Sunday's race.
I think that after all of this, we may actually see a huge spike in fans. Because how amazing would it be to see Bristol packed out again? You think about stuff like that, So I think that this is going to change the game. And plus, there's so many new fans coming into NASCAR now, which is an absolute blessing. So it's awesome to see that happen. But yeah, we're definitely going to be rooting for you guys coming into Atlanta this Sunday. Like I said, I've already got Joey kind of on there. I know you guys are going to have an awesome strategy implemented, as y'all do every week. And hopefully we can avoid certain people deciding to play slip and slide on racetracks. So
it is Atlanta. That track does get slick. So
yeah,
we'll probably run into us. We'll run somebody,
I think that I would have to say I think that the person that Joey would probably end up battling the most at this track is probably Kevin Harvick, because he seems to dominate this track for Stewart-Haas. And so, knowing how he runs, are you guys just kind of I know you guys share data sometimes, as far as the actual race, NASCAR holds all that information, but you guys got to kind of be looking around at what other people are doing, gathering to get better and to make things better for your teams, right?
I know we do as far as pit crew side. You know, we have a big master sheet of what all the pit crews do, and every stop, every race, we kind of break that down to measure up at pit crews. I don't know the details on it. I believe 4 teams share all their information, and same goes with Toyota and Chevrolet and everything. And so, yeah, I mean, everyone's always looking at what everyone else is doing. You know, it's just like when someone comes up with a new play in football, everyone's going to be running it eventually.
Right, exactly.
So everything catches up really quick, and especially how easily it is, not easily it is to access, but all the technology we have. You know, everything's to the max every weekend, whether it's with pit crew, drivers, just everything is just to the max as far as what we can do. And with saying that, something that works for this guy may not work for him. So there's that balance of, well, it's working for this guy and they're winning races every week. We need to try it. But if you try it and it still doesn't work for you, you're still left looking, I believe. So that's where that kind of entails as far as the crossover between teams looking at other teams. And as far as us, we have our big master sheet of keeping up with pit crews all year and where everyone stacks up, who's pitting good, who pits good at this racetrack. You know, we keep stats as what we did last time we visited Atlanta, and we look at those times, and it's like, where can we get better this year? So.
Absolutely. Well, this has all been good. Again, like I said, we're definitely going to be rooting for you guys coming in. Before I let you go, Hunter, I have to ask a question. So this is something that I had talked about on Twitter earlier about what kind of topics should we run into this week. And a lot of people voted. They want to know the DFS side. So I've already taken care of that for the Garage Fam. But one that I personally wanted to talk about was NASCAR brawls and things that go down the track. So since we're not making a whole segment out of it, I thought that it'd be a good time to ask you being out there in the pits, tempers get flared. We were hoping to see a little more action, but because of how things are right now, that's kind of frowned upon. But what was one of the most memorable fights that you can say that you've been around or been in? And you don't have to limit it to one either. But like, what were some of like the wildest like moments that you've encountered with your job?
Well, I've been lucky that I hadn't really been a part of those too much, but one that really sticks out to me is in 2014 when Brad and Jeff got into it. Road, and I wasn't down there. You know, this was the time where that all happened kind of on one end of pit road. We were pitting on this end. So it all started going down. It was halfway over before we even knew what was going on. So as a pit crew, we weren't involved down there. But yeah, no, there's been some altercations out there between drivers. Just a couple weekends ago in Darlington when Kyle Busch and Chase Elliott got together, we saw Chase Elliott guys comes down there. I know nothing happened, but just that little bit of tension that's on pit road, that's kind of, you know, that's what we're there to do, man. We're there to win. Sometimes, you know, someone always gets a short end of the stick. They get upset, want to start a fight. But, no, haven't really been a part of any of them. I don't want to be a part of them because what the thing is, you know, up and down pit road, you work there long enough. You start knowing all these guys on pit road. You know other guys in the teams. You're friends with the other guys in the team. So I've always kind of joked with some other guys that I know on other race teams, and it's like, hey, if we ever get in a fight, let's just play fight and put on a good show for the fans.
Yeah.
It's joking, you know, it's so funny sometimes.
Smoke and mirrors, man. Yeah.
No, we always try, and when stuff like that happens, you know, we're wearing Penske on our chest, and we always try and represent Team Penske as a whole. And, you know, that's to be not necessarily be better than everyone, just hold the Penske standard.
Right.
And try and do that as employees all the way across the board.
Yeah, that's an awesome thing too, man. Yeah, you definitely got to stand up for your principles in the company. I know we know Penske's been in that thing for a long time, so they're always going to make sure that they're doing what's right. But we all know too that sometimes, like you just said with the Jeff and the Keselowski deal, like that was just one of those where sometimes they're unavoidable. But
yeah, it happens. I mean, it's going to happen the way this format is in the chase. You know, it gets pretty. You know, tooth and nail when it gets down to it, when it gets down to nitty gritty. I mean, you're out there fighting for every inch as far as, you know, these drivers on the racetrack, and we're out here on pit road, you know, where tenths of seconds are counting. Like everything's so competitive now in NASCAR that sometimes tempers boil over.
Right. I think what it's going to take now for us to really see a true fight like that was going to be something completely intentional, and for a driver to come out and say, yes, it was completely intentional. I think that's probably what's going to stir the pot the most, but you don't get a lot of that because nobody wants no smoke these days. But It's good to continue and make things the right way, like you said, because when you're out there, you're out there competing, and you do all that. The talking is done with the car, and the whatever car gets to victory lane. That's how it all gets finished up. But, dude, thanks so much for being on the show, and I can't wait to get back out to a track and see you again, man. Where can all the Garage Fam follow you at?
I believe my handle is just Hunter Masling, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. It's pretty plain and simple. So.
Sweet. Well, dude, best of luck. Safe travels to Atlanta for this weekend. We'll be rooting for you guys, and take it easy, man.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Anytime.
All right. And that was the interview with Hunter Masling. Again, you can follow him at Hunter Masling everywhere there is to follow him on social media. Great guy. Loved meeting that guy at the track. If it wouldn't have been for that, I probably wouldn't know as much about what's going down in these boxes, but always good to hear from him. And I know that you might be a little bit more worried now, just looking into some things. I don't know. I don't think Joey's going to do anything, though. I think Joey's too much of a nice guy to retaliate.
Wait, in a fight between Chase Elliott and Logano, who do you think would win?
I'm
going to put my money on Chase Elliott.
Right now, at this very moment, yeah, Chase. But here's the problem: is Joey doesn't understand he has the potential. And I talked about this last week. Joey's very tall. He's got reach.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. He is pretty tall.
All you gotta do is hold Chase.
I want to look up how tall he is.
He is like he's a solid 2
he's
inches taller than
6'1".
me.
Yeah, he's 6'1".
He's I don't know though. I guess he is 6'1" because I'm 6 foot. But
Chase Elliott's 5'10". So
I know. That's what I'm saying. Joey, because I know I'm taller than Chase. So and I've seen how much taller I am than Chase. So when I go to these tracks, you can just grab the head and just be like, buddy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You could hold him at a distance.
Joey could be at the longest distance ever because that dude's got bird wings for arms. I'm not even. He kind
of, he kind of does have bird tendencies, I think.
Big bird.
No
offense.
offense.
You won't get offended. Yeah, we love you, Joseph.
No offense.
She might not, but
Joey. No, I don't think much about Joey. I think he's good to have in the field.
He is. He's a good driver for sure.
Yeah.
All right. So now that we wrapped up Hunter, before we go for this episode, there's a new segment when Jinsey comes on. We got to hear what's going on in Jinsey's world. This is Jinsey Says. Jinsey, what are we saying this week? What's in the mind of Jinsey? What needs to be said? What's been happening?
All right. So Chase Elliott put out a tweet this week talking about Nashville Super Speedway, about it coming on the schedule. And he said, one snooze fest at that joint will put the nail in the coffin of the fairgrounds. Bummer. And Jinsey says, Chase Elliott, no. I think anytime you add a new track to a schedule, that's something to be celebrated. He's never raced there. Cup cars never raced there. So I think that's something to look forward to, and I think that he is wrong here. And I think that it's great momentum for the sport. It'll be a great atmosphere. So show up. Super excited about that.
Maybe a girl broke his heart in Nashville, and he just doesn't want to come back because it brings back bad memories.
No, he likes fairgrounds, but we got to keep in mind that Nashville Super Speedway is a big scheme for a NASCAR to run at fairgrounds. So the only way that that's going to happen is if fans show up at Nashville Super Speedway at the race in June of next year, show their support for it, and then maybe a few years down the road, we'll be racing at fairgrounds.
By the time the new car comes out, I think that would be that would be legit.
I think they had a contract for Nashville Super Speedway for 5 or 6 years, maybe 4. I don't know, but it's four plus. So
this is what we have. We have time to figure this out, Jinsey. Why does Chase Elliott really hate Nashville? This is what we have to figure out now.
He doesn't. He loves Nashville.
Are you sure? Are you positive?
Sure. I'm positive.
Positive. Are you a dog mom? Dog mom.
No, I'm not a dog mom. But I don't know. He was really excited to come for the banquet that was held here in November. He really seemed to like the idea of them moving it to Nashville from Las Vegas because he has so much momentum for fairgrounds. Maybe that's why he thinks it's a bummer, because he was really more expecting them to go to fairgrounds. But fairgrounds still needs a little bit of work, and there still needs to be some convincing for Nashville officials to say, hey, Super Speedway works out, Fairgrounds is a possibility. So
exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so that'll be what we'll do. Well, maybe he'll find a way to love the Super Speedway, and if he doesn't,
if he wins there, he'll love it. I guarantee it.
All right.
So.
Well, I can't wait to start getting closer to really seeing how things can go. I got to go look and do my homework on Super Speedway and see what's done. There's never been a cup race there, has there?
No, never been a cup race. I think they only raced Xfinity there, so who knows? There's not really much we can really look into there, but I think it's exciting.
History.
I think it's a good opportunity. They're tapping into a market here because the closest race that we have to us is Kentucky Speedway,
right?
And that's 1.5 miles. That's an intermediate track, so. I think it's tapping into a new market. Nashville, like you said earlier on in the podcast, it's a great city. It's a good environment. I think people are going to love it. So that's
and this gives Tennessee full rights to a track instead of having to share it with Virginia, with Bristol. So
yeah, for sure.
There's that too. So Tennessee gets its own deal. So I don't know. I think that Nashville is a great place for this to happen.
So
Chase, listen to what Jinsey says. Don't be so hard on Nashville.
Don't hate on it. It's not a bummer. It's exciting.
That's right. This is a good thing. Okay.
This is a good thing, not a bad thing, Chase. So listen to me.
Listen to Jinsey. That's all the time. We're gonna come back with more Jinsey Says. This is good. We're gonna have something every time you're on now. We'll have something for Jinsey to say.
I'm ready.
That's all we got for this week, though, guys. We'll be back on Sunday to recap the race. And as always, you need anything, hit me up at Garage Guy Chase. Follow us at Garage Guys FS. Follow Jinsey at Jinsey Stinson. You want to spell it for him?
JINSEYSTINSON.
I tried to write it. I tried to write it like the Disney pin.
The Disney Channel. There we go.
I couldn't do it.
I've always wanted to do that. That's always been a dream.
All you got to do is get a green screen and a green thing, and we can make it happen.
We need to. That's coming up.
Coming soon. All right. Sports, party, repeat.
It's the Garage Guys. 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 It's the Garage Guys.